So hello guys, what's up and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me, your girl Barrister Neze, and this is Nezeville. Mr. IBU, whose original name is John Okafor, is a popular Nigerian comic actor, producer, and filmmaker. The 62-year-old indigene of Nkanu in Enugu State is a natural when it comes to comedy. He doesn't have to do too much, he doesn't have to say too much. His gesticulations and facial expression is enough to cause a smile on the face of a grieving person. Mr. IBU's movies and his screen life may be funny, but his love and marriage life has now proven to be very far from hilarious. Mr. IBU's first marriage was back in 1998. The identity of his first wife is still sketchy. However, after a few years and some children, the marriage packed up. Although Mr. IBU didn't come out to state the reasons for the crash of that marriage, it was speculated that it was due to incompatibility and irreconcilable differences. What he revealed, however, was that first marriage was an ugly experience. So ugly such that he had to stay away from women for 6 whole years after the crash of that marriage just to heal his heart. After Mr. IBU has healed and was ready to give love and marriage another chance, he met his now wife, Stella Maris. Mr. IBU considered Stella a compensation from God after all the hassles he claims to have suffered in his first marriage. He claimed he met his now wife when she was at her lowest, having just been served breakfast, hot spicy breakfast, by her then boyfriend. Now, if you don't know what breakfast means, it is a Nigerian slang to depict when one has just got hurt, disappointed, jilted, betrayed, or dumped by one's lover or one who one is in a relationship with. So it was said that Stella was down after a breakup text message that she got from her then boyfriend, and that Mr. IBU came in like a knight in shining armor, giving her the much needed consolation and shoulder she desired. Who knows, he may have cracked a joke or two that caused her to snap out of her misery. And it wasn't so long after they met that their friendship blossomed into a full-blown relationship. When Mr. IBU was sure that this is it, she is the one, I'm ready to give marriage and love a chance again, he proposed to her. He proposed to Stella in what was said to be the most dramatic of ways. I don't need to tell you guys, you can imagine someone as hilarious as Mr. IBU proposing to somebody. Anybody that would have witnessed that would definitely have weed in their panties due to excessive laughter. So by 2010, they proceeded to solidify their relationship in a traditional marriage ceremony that held in Mbise, Imo State, which is the hometown of Stella Maris. And 5 years later, they had their white-stroke church wedding. So that is the origin of Mr. IBU and Stella Maris's love story. And that was how Stella Maris officially became Mrs. Stella Maris John Okafor. They proceeded to have 4 children together. Now, it is worthy to mention here that aside the children that Mr. IBU had with his first wife, and these other 4 that he had with his second wife, Stella Maris, Mr. IBU has had a number of love children from random relationships and affairs that he had with other women. And as is oftentimes, I'm tempted to say always, is the case with situations like this, drama was sure to erupt. So back to Mr. IBU and Stella. The marriage of popular comedian Mr. IBU and his wife, just like many other marriages or every other marriage, has had its fair share of ups and downs. Sometime in January of 2011, Stella was kidnapped along with her 1-year-old son, and a ransom of 50 million naira was demanded by their abductors. People were like, hello kidnappers, are you in your right frame of mind? Even if you sell Mr. IBU along with all his properties, his clothes, his phone, his ancestral land, everything he owns, can you shake away 50 million from him? Are you out of your minds? Well, After much pleading and bargaining, Mr. Ibu ended up paying 4 million naira to secure their release. During this ordeal, Mr. Ibu kept on insisting that his ex-wife was responsible and was the brain behind that kidnapping, as she was bent in causing him pain. It is most unfortunate to know that 1 year after this incident, his 1-year-old child, who was a victim of that kidnapping, passed on under unclear circumstances, thus bringing the number of children that Mr. Ibu had with Stella from 4 to 3. Talking about poisoning, Mr. Ibu himself is no stranger to it. He revealed sometime in March last year that he was only recuperating after being poisoned for the 3rd time within a 3-year space. So aside from these ugly incidences which I just mentioned or narrated, not much has been known or said about Mr. Ibu's marriage or his personal and private life. And there was absolutely nothing public to indicate that his marriage was troubled or that their relationship was strained. In fact, only in December of last year, only 2 months ago, Mr. Ibu took to Instagram to share a picture of his wife along with their kids, heaping accolades on her and thanking her for being an amazing mother and wife. So it was indeed shocking to many when only a few hours ago, Stella Maris took to social media to reveal a video of Mr. Ibu towering menacingly above her as though he was threatening to hit her.
With you. Do you hear me? Don't make me get angry with you. Do you hear me? Huh? Tell me what I want to hear right now. Tell me what I want to hear right now. Stay there. Are you mad? Stay there now. Stay there now. You make me hear Mama.
I get BP.
You make me hear Mama.
I get BP.
You make me hear Mama. You make me get Maggie. And no matter what talk to me now. Talk to me right now. Now. Talk to me now. Choma.
Who is Choma now?
You hear that? Maybe one of them who is Choma. You hear that begging? You know who is Choma? Make it bad. Make it here now. You have to be. You got out. No problem. Talk to me now. Talk to me. Talk to me now. Talk to me now.
Whoa, so unusual to see our fun-loving, joy-giving Mr. Ibu in such a tense and furious state. So what is the matter? In that video, in that conversation, which was heard in Igbo language, the local dialect of Mr. Ibu and his wife, Mr. Ibu was demanding from his wife for her to explain to him what Chioma has done to her. Like, what offense has Chioma committed against her? He was insisting that she speaks to him immediately. So the next question is, who is Chioma? Who is Chioma Jasmine?
Over.
Now there are two versions of who Chioma Jasmine is. The first version is the version from Chioma herself, Mr. Ibu, and his 2 grown-up sons. And according to them, Chioma is Mr. Ibu's daughter, his adopted daughter, who has been caring for him, rehabilitating him, reviving him, and nursing him to good health. But according to Mr. Ibu's wife, that claim is bullshit. She said that Chioma is Mr. Ibu's girlfriend, his lover, and that they have been in a romantic relationship. Now, aside this allegation of dating, Mrs. Ibu also heaped several very serious allegations on Mr. Ibu and Chioma. She alleged the following. 1. Fraud. She claims that Chioma is a fraud and an imposter, and that her name is Chioma Florence Okeke Aguku, not Jasmine Okafor, as she goes by on social media. 2. Desertion. She claims that her husband has abandoned her and her children in Lagos and has fled and eloped all the way to Abuja to reside with Chioma. She explained that even these festive season that just passed us by, Christmas and New Year, that Mr. Ibu refused to come spend it at home with her and his children, but chose to stay with Chioma in Abuja. 3. Dementia and manipulation. Mrs. Stella Maris Ibu claimed that her husband is suffering from dementia and that he has lost control of his memory, and thus being manipulated and taken advantage of by Chioma. 4. Financial neglect. She bemoaned that she is suffering excruciating financial neglect from her husband and that her children are unable to go back to school because their school fees cannot be paid. 5. Gross deceit. She said that Mr. Ibu deceived her and did not inform her that he had other children until after the marriage. She came to the realization of that fact after the marriage, and that is deceit. 6. Undue control. Mrs. Ibu claimed that her wants, her needs, and those of her children cannot be met until it passes through Chioma. She claimed that she cannot even talk to her husband on the phone except she calls him through Chioma, and that Chioma had hijacked all his social media accounts and pages and milking it for her own personal interests. These allegations are a handful and a mouthful. 7. Adultery. She said that Mr. Ibu had gone ahead to have other children within the course of their marriage, children that her own kids were older than. She also claimed that Mr. Ibu had forbidden her from working or engaging in any trade or any money generating venture, and that he was jealous and didn't want other men to see her, and that by doing that he had made her financially incapacitated and disadvantaged and unable to take care of herself and her children. And on top of that, Mr. Ibu is now threatening to divorce her. And to wrap it all up, she claims that Chioma Jasmine and Mr. Ibu's older sons are plotting to sell the house, the residence where she and her children are presently residing. She also went ahead to show the deplorable condition that the house that she and her children are presently living in. So on these notes, she has come, cap in hand, soliciting for help and public intervention. So while you rack your head trying to figure out what kind of solution could possibly come from blogs and social media, some very important basic questions need to be asked about Mr. Ibu and his alleged daughter. Let's take the questions. The number one question begging for an answer is Chioma Jasmine truly the daughter of Mr. Ibu, or is she his lover? Secondly, if she was truly adopted, was it a formal adoption? Are there documents to show that an adoption happened? Or was it a mere word-of-mouth adoption or an assumed adoption? Thirdly, when exactly was she adopted? Was she adopted as a child or as an adult? And if she was adopted by Mr. Ibu as a child, are there any childhood memories in forms of pictures that can show or prove that she was indeed adopted as a child by Mr. Ibu? Or was she adopted as a grown-ass woman residing in Cyprus, which used to be her base? Fourthly, was Chioma Jasmine adopted in the course of Mr. Ibu's marriage to Stella? Mr. Ibu and Stella Maris have been married for a whopping 11 years. So was she adopted in the course of the marriage? And if yes, was the consent of Mrs. Stella sought and obtained before that adoption took place? Or did Mr. Ibu adopt her without the knowledge or consent of his wife? These are very important questions. These are the questions that the court would ask and the judge would want to know if this matter makes it to the four corners of a courtroom. People are curious to know, questions are being asked, why Mr. Ibu, a man that has 13 children, would choose to adopt another child. Let us not pretend like this is America. This is not an Angelina Jolie or Brad Pitt situation. This is a typical Igbo man who naturally are averse to the concept of adoption. The regular Igbo man would not embrace adoption, especially when he has children. It is usually a last resort for couples who are struggling with infertility. Not an Igbo man with 13 children? So people have asked that too. The sixth question, why is this man residing with his adopted daughter when he has a wife and little children who needs his presence? Why is he not living with his wife? They are not divorced. Why is he living with his adopted child? And lastly, why is she in charge of his finances? Why does money remitted to his wife and children have to pass through her, have to be dispensed through her? Wouldn't such an arrangement be triggering to a lot of wives? If I can say all wives. Let me know your thoughts and what you think about all of these questions asked right in the comment section. I want to hear your opinion. Share them right down in the comment section. So the question still remains, is Chioma Mr. Ibu's alleged daughter truly his daughter, or she's only a user and manipulator? Do you think it's truly father-daughter relationship that exists between them? Or do you think that Mr. Ibu's wife is just being greedy and overbearing, and that all her allegations lack substance? Drop your thoughts down there in the comment section. So before we close this video, I should add that Mr. Ibu has responded to all of these allegations. So also has Chioma Jasmine, as well as his two older sons. And in our next video, we will be discussing all of their responses very thoroughly. So stay glued, subscribe if you're not, and turn on your bell notifications. It's me, your girl Barrister Neze, and this is Nezeville. I'll see you guys in my next video. For now, bye.